Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're going to peel back the everyday surface of reality using frameworks like TROM and meaning unconfounded. We're going to reveal the hidden architecture of language, logic, and literal physical mass. We're looking at a truly profound synthesis here, a framework that ties together the semantic code hidden inside our words, the Boolean logic that dictates sanity, and the actual literal mechanics of how physical mass is generated. I know it's a lot to process right out of the gate, but I promise you, the way these three seemingly different domains converge is absolutely mind-blowing. Now, what's really fascinating about this profound claim is that it frames the universe not as some random, chaotic accident, but as a scripted reality. And we aren't just talking scripted in a poetic, metaphorical sense either. We're talking authored through a precise, verifiable code. You see, the sources we're exploring today argue that the fundamental structure of existence is linguistic and logical, basically meaning the physical world around us operates on the exact same architecture as the words we use to describe it. Chapter 1. The Surface Illusion and Quantum Linguistics. So, we begin by plunging right below the surface of our everyday communication to discover what the sources call quantum linguistics. The crucial point here is that language isn't just an arbitrary human invention, right? It's not just us randomly assigning sounds to objects. According to this framework, language is a highly engineered mechanism. The sources argue that for centuries, we've actually only been reading at about 20% of the available meaning. The remaining 80%? Well, that's encoded directly into the consonants. Vowels just carry the breath and the time, but the consonants, they carry a literal, testable semantic charge based entirely on the physical action your mouth makes when you speak them. And this brilliantly illustrates what meaning unconfounded calls the N-position algorithm. Let's take the letter N. To say it, you place your tongue against the roof of your mouth and release air continuously through your nose. It's the physical action of flow. But notice how its meaning changes entirely based on where it sits in a word. At the start of a word, that flow is prevented before it even begins, which gives us negation. No, not, none. In the middle of a word, the flow is ongoing, giving us continuation. Now, near, running. And at the end, the flow arrives and stops, giving us completion. Done, gone, won. It is the exact same physical nasal flow, but it produces three totally distinct meanings dictated completely by its structural position. So position isn't just decoration. Position is literally meaning. Chapter 2. The Logic of Sanity. Let's see how this ties into Boolean logic. The source material from TROM, which was developed by researcher Dennis Stevens, proposes something wild. It suggests that sanity and insanity aren't just subjective psychological concepts. No, they are literal, mathematical postulates at the very foundation of reality. Stevens maps human consciousness and the playing of games directly to Boolean algebra, the exact same logic that runs our computer programming. This mathematical comparison right here represents the core of the framework's source code. Let's break it down. We have the mathematical foundation of sanity. X times 1 minus x equals 0. This simply means a thing and its absence share no common class. Safe and not safe are totally distinct things. Sanity requires these distinctions to be real so you can actually navigate life. But on the flip side, we see the insanity condition. X times 1 minus x equals 1. This is the impossible mathematical state where a concept and its exact opposite are treated as identical. It happens when a being holds two completely conflicting ideas with equal intensity at the exact same time. The distinctions collapse entirely, and navigation becomes literally impossible. Chapter 3. The Architecture of Games and Reality. We're diving deeper into the iceberg now to bridge this Boolean logic with our everyday reality. But before we go any further, we absolutely must define a postulate. In this framework, a postulate is the highest level of human architecture. It's a timeless, causative decision that you make about what is real. It sits way, way beneath your thoughts and emotions. It literally limits the possible and defines the reasonable for you. Honestly, everything in your life, your intelligence, your education, your willpower, it all operates downstream of your foundational postulates. Now notice how seamlessly the triple convergence operates in action here. Stevens discovered that any human game or conflict operates on a goals package with exactly 4 legs. What I want to do, what I must not do, what I want you to do, and what you must not do. Look at how flawlessly these 4 legs map directly to the 4 Boolean logic classes, and, incredibly, to the 4 positions of a consonant in a word. The start of a word initiates, the middle processes and anchors, and the end completes. Logic, psychological games, and the very spelling of our words are all running on the exact same 4-part architecture. And you can actually test this self-evident architecture in your own mind by looking at the word postulate itself. The word structurally describes its own exact function through its consonants. Think about it. P means projecting forward. S is spreading outward. T is marking or crossing. L is lateral flowing. And the final T is marking again to complete. So what is a postulate? It is a meaning that projects outward, spreads through space, marks reality, flows laterally through your thinking, and marks itself again to seal into place. The word describes exactly what the word does. How cool is that? Chapter 4. The Physics of Meaning. Okay, brace yourselves, because we are now hitting the foundational core of this explainer. How these logical and linguistic structures manifest as literal physical reality. When you hold two impossible, conflicting postulates at the exact same time, when you enter that insanity loop we talked about where X and not X are identical, the forces perfectly balance and they freeze. This generates what the sources call TIPM, or twin insanity point mass. Now, this is definitely the most radical claim we're covering today. The sources argue that TIPM is the literal substance of the physical universe. Physical matter is simply compressed postulate interaction at its maximum stable form. As Dennis Stevens documented in TROM, this isn't just some metaphor for feeling heavy or having a knot in your stomach. No, the impossible mathematical contradiction, when held in a stable configuration, actually stops time at the moment of its genesis and creates real, physical weight. Because the opposing forces exactly cancel each other out, it results in absolute motionlessness. It becomes highly condensed, generated mass. So these four characteristics, identification, motionlessness, timelessness, and mass, dictate that your body and the universe itself are effectively tip maps. There are compressed energy from unresolved postulate conflicts. When you feel a heavy, dense tension in your body regarding a specific issue, you are literally experiencing the gravitational density of conflicting postulates that have condensed into mass. Chapter 5. The Word Made Flesh. Let's bring it all home. Our sources present a profound, almost spiritual conclusion to this incredibly mechanical architecture. The meaning literally became material. The consonant code we speak is the physical structure of reality. But the most fascinating part of all this is the claim that the author of this reality didn't just disappear. Instead, the author chose to play the character, to live inside the script, to experience the physical mass and the logical games from the inside out. We haven't lost the code. We just simply forgot we were the ones who wrote it. So, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. If the confounding of our reality, all the mass, all the insane mathematical conflicts we trap ourselves in, was simply a forgetting of this architecture, what becomes possible the moment you remember how to read the code? If you are the author and you finally recognize the building blocks of your own script, how will you choose to write your next chapter? Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive today, and I really challenge you to start listening to the hidden architecture in the words you use every single day. See you next time.